Why are we putting Superman in a political party, dude? Oh my god, it's so exhausting, dude. And then this is Endymion. Superman reviews Ignite with new insane anti-immigration debate. Let's check them out, man. We like Endymion
Superman
around
is a
here.
very important movie for a lot of reasons, mostly because DC Comics has clearly failed at trying to create a true living shared universe like Marvel has, and of course, with James Gunn's Superman now coming out, that obviously looks to be the mission. First, I want to talk about Angry Joe, then I'll get into the whole MAGA connection thing that some websites are trying to make. So, there was a lot of
Hmm.
really stupid things said about Superman, mostly from Variety, who tried to fish for their viral moments from the cast and crew. Variety had this hit piece, and it's titled James Gunn Says Superman is About an
Oh
Immigrant
yeah.
That Came from Other Places, and How We've Lost the Value of Basic Human Kindness. Yes, it's about politics. So, then Grums then replied to this saying, yes, the made it political to own the Chud strategy. Let's see how it plays out.
I mean, just read that though. Tell me that's not like that's a fair response from Grums, I think. Because I mean, that's definitely this the way that's written. Who knows what James Gunn actually said? And yeah, obviously he's literally an alien. Superman's literally an alien. Well, not. I mean, you guys know what I mean. So, this whole he's not. I've seen people say he's not an immigrant. It's like no, he's an actual alien with superpowers, guys. That's who the fuck we're talking about. How crazy is it? And he's been that forever since his inception. One time he was a Russian alien though. I remember that comic and it's super cool. I really recommend that. Um, in the edit, I'm gonna put right here. This will be the comic that I am referring to. All right.
Then Angry Joe, who, in case you don't know, is a guy who makes gaming content but talks about movies and shows too, decided to reply to Grums and kind of blew up in his face all angry like, where he said this: Don't listen to this grifter fraud. Hey Grums, where is your game Ember? It's been 9 years. Where did all the money go? When it comes out that Superman is only political and as far as morality can be considered political, i.e., defending the defenseless, stopping wars, fighting against Lex Luthor and his various anti Superman plans is all political, or that being kind to people is now political propaganda. I'm sure these people will try to pivot to something else for more drama farming. Sad to see in your comments so many influence to not see it anymore. First,
Angry Joe, man, didn't he used to be based? You know what I mean? I thought he was based because I mean I watched his Dragon Age Veilguard review a long time ago. And that shit was pretty based. So, what happened to him? And by the way, very fair criticism on Grum's games.
of all, I agree. Grum should finish his game,
Yeah,
but he knows
yeah,
that and he is working on it.
yeah.
I also think that
Right on,
Pirate
Andy.
Software should probably finish Heartbound too. Also, I think Sony should remaster Infamous already, but that's not really the point of this video.
Fuck
Secondly,
yeah,
claiming
dude.
that Grums is
I love when he throws in these little tidbits, dude. These little tidbits like that, when he has these little things like Infamous 2 being remastered, because I didn't even think about how bad I want that until you just said that. You know? Like, fuck, you know how cool that fucking game would be remastered right now? Man, I used to love that game, dude. That was one of I have ADD. I am one of these people that has a hard time ever, like, making it through a game. There's only like handful, probably under 50 games I've actually completed, right? And Infamous 1 and 2, them are games that we have completed both good and bad.
drama farming, that's rich coming from Joe. Since a lot of his content outside of his reviews is him quite literally drama farming himself. The guy unironically has an entire playlist on his channel literally titled Angry Rants, where he talks about controversies on TV shows like Game of Thrones, microtransactions in games, cast
Ooh, that's a good idea, guys. We should do an Angry Rants fucking playlist, dude. You know how fun that would be? Just to fucking unload. Just unload. Just whatever fuck it is. Just to let it out.
decisions that he's mad about and gaming controversies aplenty. So I don't know who Joe thinks he is, but he can't exactly sit on this high horse believing that he's somehow holier than thou over someone like Grums when it comes to drama farming, when Joe's entire career on YouTube can be summed up with those same words. I mean, your name is Angry
Mm,
Joe, for crying out loud, but Joe saying being kind is now political is not really true. It
yeah.
seems more so like the guy is just pulling things out of his ass at this point for gotchas, I guess. Also, the movie is political to a point. I mean, it literally has two fake nations in it that are so obviously supposed to be Israel and Palestine, in everything, of course, but name within Superman the movie between them. And the idea to use immigration as a key selling point of the movie, that is also done on purpose. It's to do
Very fair. Extremely fair. True. Fair.
exactly what it's doing right now, which is to get people talking, people riled up and angry, and cause the, SHIT storm that is currently happening everywhere. Nobody said that being kind is considered political
Ooh,
propaganda
that was
either.
cool.
That's just you, Joe, being you again. And I think Angry Joe is clearly grifting the other side of the aisle, that being pro immigration, pro liberalism, and all that stuff.
It's a grift on grift crime, guys. It's grift on grift. Grift on grift. Grift on grift.
Too. The guy is unapologetically against Trump. I mean, just go to his Twitter and search the word Trump under it, and yeah, you'll see. Here's one where Joe is making fun of Trump and claiming that he's a fraud. Here's Joe again posting Trump and how he's a fraud even more and how much money he has. In case you don't know, this is drama farming, Joe, by the way. You know, the same thing you said Grums does, but you don't because you're morally above him when you really aren't. And here's Joe, by the way, being concerned about
And
Trump when he was shot at last year. But besides, like, this one
let's say, absolutely insane. What happened yesterday, Trump showed tremendous courage under fire. This horrific act by this strange individual absolutely was despicable. Inches from the massive political violence. Secret Service has explained to you how they allowed this to happen. Holy shit. Oh, yeah.
post, most of Joe's posts on Trump is that he hates him and his anti immigration policies pretty much. So I just want Angry Joe to know, in case he's
I mean, in Angry Joe's defense, I mean, you cannot like a guy and his policies, right? And not want him shot in the head in front of an entire rally of people, especially if he's running for office to run your country. So you could hate him, you could despise him, but you could still not want him, to have this. And obviously, you would understand the impact that would have on the American people to have, a candidate, that future president, right? Shot dead on stage. So, fair to him.
sees this at first, I don't hate the guy, but that he is not above anyone else either. And he
Yeah.
should not try to claim that you're not, also drama farming, because come on, man. A big bulk of your channel is literally built on you screaming autistically into a microphone about various topics. So I don't want to hear you saying Grums is this or that when you're doing the same things that you're accusing him of. But Grums did fire back with this to Joe, which says James Gunn says himself it is political and he doesn't care if the politics offend anyone, Joe. Did you even read the article? The quote is right there in the headline. I just have an opinion on his strategy, which I think is pretty disrespectful of all fans. Will it be good or bad? Who knows? I'm still looking forward to it, but Gunn's quotes here are cringe and alienating.
Fair.
And as you see in the article that Joe 100% didn't read because he never replied to Grums here afterwards because the man runs on emotion, I guess, over logic. Yes, James Gunn said very clearly in plain text that the movie is political, that it is making a political statement. No, I'm not going to call for people to boycott the movie or something like that, but we can't sit here and scream with our emotions and think that our emotions are somehow fact when they aren't. But it is kind of
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It looks pretty good. Like the clips that I'm seeing, it looks fun. It looks fun. It looks fun. Superman. I'm not really a big Superman like fanboy. His powers, I always found him kind of boring. It's like he's like the best at everything. The best at everything guy, you know?
embarrassing, honestly, To see a man who is 41 years old, according to Google, not being able to do basic journalism when it comes to his beliefs and his opinions. You're better than this, Angry Joe, but there's more to dissect in this video too. Variety also had this article titled James Gunn, Nathan Fillion, and more on Make America Great Again outrage over director saying Superman is an immigrant. I don't have anything to say to anybody spreading hate. Anyway, here's what James Gunn said.
Before, I don't know.
Superman is the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we have lost. This, of course, caused the Access Media and their defenders
That fucking, it's like there's this detachment between like real people and like people offline or online, right? Because like every store I go to, like this is a little thing that I'd say that human kindness. He's saying that he's suggesting that we don't have. Almost 95% of the time, a person, a complete stranger, will hold the door open for you. It's this little moment, this little courtesy, right? But think about that. No one has to open the door for you. No one has to hold it open for you. But we all kind of do it, and I do it for the person behind me. And often people say thank you. More than not, probably about 75% of people say thank you. Right? And that is a little act of human kindness. And I think there's a lot of those little acts all over the place if you care to look, you know?
to believe that James was now anti-conservative or something like that, which honestly doesn't actually seem to be the case. After all, Yellow Flash, who's a good friend of the channel, whose live streams I frequent like every week at this point, saw Superman himself recently and gave his review, which reads, Superman was great, nothing woke, and the immigrant thing is BS. It's a fun comic book movie and unapologetically so. And believe me when I tell you
That's
that
cool.
Yellow Flash is one of the most base people I've ever talked to, so if he says the movie is not woke and the immigrant angle is BS, yeah, it's BS. What we're seeing here is the Access Media wants to politically divide audiences based on ideologies by clearly using Superman as this lightning rod to spark not conversation per se, but honestly just division. And it is working to a degree because, as you saw with Angry Joe, he lapped up what the Access Media was saying, that conservatives are apparently up in arms about Superman being pro-immigrant and more when that really isn't the case. Also, can we talk about that?
Like, I have not seen anyone losing their shit on any post on Twitter, and I'm a no-lifer. I have not seen anyone upset that I mean, obviously Superman's an immigrant. I mean, James Gunn did say some cringy shit though, and like, he's conflating. He's using his movie for whatever point he's trying to make, but Superman himself is a literal alien, dude. I just don't get it.
That for a second, the
don't.
uncomfortable conversation, if you will, that Superman is an immigrant. I mean, yeah, he's definitely not from Earth. We all know that. The guy is more so an invader, if anything, since he's not even human, but he still lands in Kansas. And his parents, whether you want to admit it or not, are farmers in rural America. The character was made also when America was largely populated by European immigrants from Europe, obviously, too. And if Superman's ideals are anything, it's probably conservatism through and through, and that might piss people off, but it's the truth. The man was raised by farmers, guys, and his tagline was truth, justice, and the American way, a very pro-Republican viewpoint, especially these days. And speaking of these days, most liberal American people are
Dude, why are we putting Superman in a political party, dude? Oh my god, it's so exhausting, dude. Trying to keep up with all the nonsense is just fucking exhausting. He's Superman, guys.
disgusted with America because they've been warped by the ideologies of Access Media and the people who profit off of their confusion and inability to see beyond the propaganda that they're constantly being fed. And people like Angry Joe might unironically tell you that Superman is liberal or something, but he isn't. Superman was also a conservative icon. The man is straight, loves a woman, has a family, and he protects America, specifically, and this might sting a little bit, but from foreign invaders both in-world and from space too. For God's sakes, the color of his suit conveys that of the American flag too. It's so on the nose, yeah, it's on purpose.
That's what I'm tired of in society right now, is labelism. That's what I'm tired of. You know, I really am, because it just, like I said, it's exhausting, man. It is.
I mean, previous Superman movies literally are about immigration policies too, and proves this point. So let's go look at Man of Steel. So Henry Cavill plays Superman. Obviously, he represents, if you don't know, the model immigrant that comes to America. Someone who fully assimilates into American culture by speaking their language, adopting their customs, and respecting the sovereignty of America as a nation by protecting it and upholding its values. While Kryptonian himself, Clark Kent was raised by his farmer parents to respect people but stand up for injustice. The man is conservative through and through, whether you like to admit it or not. On the opposite end is the enemy force of the film, which is General Zod and his Kryptonian acolytes. This group represents, and it's uncomfortable for some to hear this, but it's true, they represent the hostile immigrant. The ones who believe no matter where they immigrate to, that their way
I gotta tell you, I like, as much as I just said it was exhausting. I gotta give it to Andy here for making one hell of an argument.
of life, their ideals are superior
Fuck,
to
dude.
those of the host nation.
Note to
Zod and his
self,
people
never
have
get in
no
a beef with this
desire
guy.
to assimilate to not even American, but human culture as a whole as well. The Kryptonians in that film, at least, are an allegory for immigrants who enter a country illegally but also refuse to assimilate. They literally come from a failed nation and planet in Krypton that blew up because the Kryptonians failed to see the warning signs. Yet General Zod's plan, regardless of knowing that the Kryptonian way of living was flawed, which it was, I mean, they literally all died pretty much, his desires, regardless, are to turn Earth into the same hellhole that he came from, because
Zod was
Krypton
so
is
good.
all he knows, and that vicious cycle is what Clark wants to stop in that movie. And that's the point of it, is that Superman is the model immigrant, a citizen who understands that to exist in a country like America, you must uphold and connect to the ideals of America as a nation. This does mean speaking their language, which is English obviously, paying your dues to make America a better place by you being in it, by contributing to it. Superman even dons a costume which is Clark Kent, not just to hide, of course, but instead to get closer to
You know, it's like, this is where you can tell that we're so fucking fucked politically. It's like, to be liberal, you have to be like anti-America, or at least that's the label they try to put you on. And then it's like, and then Republicans are pro-America, like they do the USA chant. And it's like, if you rewind the clock, dude, in the '90s, being a Democrat or a liberal, I mean, it was represented so differently. One, they were the working class. They fought for the working class. That was who they fought for. I've watched countless things. It's what won my parents over, right, when I was young. Um, but yeah, it's just so wild to see how things have changed. Um, and it's a shame too, man. You know, it's a shame. It shouldn't be either or. I just don't get it.
mankind, to understand them and submerge himself in their ways of life. Clark Kent and Superman in that way embodies what true healthy immigration should look like in theory. For example, my family came to Canada from Serbia back in the 1980s. My uncle was the first of our family to come to Canada. He worked on military vehicles in the Serbian army, which of course translated to him having the skills as a mechanic. So, he worked for years and used the money that he earned while, of course, learning English as well to slowly but surely bring over the rest of our family, including my father, grandmother, and so on. They settled into Canadian culture, learned the language, adopted the customs. It didn't mean that they gave up their customs, but they respected that they were not in their home country anymore and had to respect the way of Canadian life. Then I was born, obviously, and I, as a son of immigrants, assimilated into the culture and adopted both Serbian and Canadian sensibilities. But I, along with my family, never once believed
That was such a long way to say that this guy loves maple syrup.
that it would be better to turn Canada into another Serbia, because Serbia, in case you don't know, is riddled with a lot of problems, and that's putting it lightly. Just go look at immigration right now across Europe, even Canada, and more. You can't tell me with a straight face that what's currently going on right now is healthy for these host countries. Because a lot of the immigration that takes place today is not of the Superman kind, but of the General Zod kind instead, and you know it is. You may feel weird admitting it, but you know deep down it's kind of true. You have people coming from all over the world to these first world countries and refusing to assimilate into their cultures. Instead, they are turning these countries into the very failed states that they were running away from. And while we're on the topic of immigration and all that, circling back to Angry Joe, which did inspire this video, Angry Joe is mad about Trump and the ICE stuff when they're deporting people back to their home countries. And Angry Joe, alongside other people who believe politically as he does, fail to understand the root cause of all of this. Nobody is against legal immigration of people who actually bring a boon to the places that they go to. Illegal immigrants are being deported because they're undocumented, which means most of them do not pay taxes and then some. They are essentially ghosts that keep everything and siphon resources around them while giving nothing back, while the people who are legal are, having to give back instead. So what people are against is illegal immigration.
Okay, so I gotta talk about it, right? I've always had this viewpoint. It's like individually versus the bigger picture. I understand the bigger picture and why things need to happen the way they need to happen. I get that. I get that. I get that every president has his own way of doing border security, but they all have done it. They all do deportations. The same. This is business as usual, guys. Not the only exception really is Biden, who just let him in, and that is a little crazy. I think that's the biggest scandal of them all. But individually, you know, I could just the thing is I could just relate so much to a person that's trying to work and send money back, and it's like that's why I can't make decisions like that. So that's my take on it. You know, if someone doesn't have a criminal record and they work, offer them some kind of way. Offer them some kind of way to continue. I that's my thing. Just give them a way in. They don't have a criminal record. They didn't do nothing wrong, dude. Do it. Just let them work. Let them continue working. There's a lot of good people in the world, no matter where you're from. So there's also a lot of shit people too, though. So keep that in mind.
Which has ruined places like Europe right now in record time. If you want an easier way of looking at it, it's this: people don't mind model citizens like your Clark Kents existing in their country. But nobody wants to deal with the horde of General Zods who believe that their way of life, their beliefs are better than those of the host nation that they're coming to. For God's sakes, man, Zod and his lackeys, they try to terraform Earth to be more like Krypton so that they can live on it. If that isn't the most anti-hostile takeover allegory, I don't know what is. But this new Superman movie is not necessarily about immigration, it's more so about being a good person in a world where basic human decency seems lost. And that human decency is lost because people are, they're just drenched in hatred and misinformation and are believing anything that they read on the internet these days. There's a certain plot point in this new movie involving what I will only say is monkeys, and I won't elaborate on that further because I don't want to spoil the movie for you. But trust me when I tell you that this movie is more so talking about misinformation than saying that Superman is an immigrant or something. Trust me. Plus, in the movie, it's not even alluded to what political ideology Clark and his parents necessarily are tied to. Because James Gunn, very obviously, does not want to alienate anyone from watching this movie, which is, yes, very smart of him to do so. But like I said, Variety tried their best to cause nonsense either way, because James' brother, who is Sean Gunn, got interviewed at the premiere of the movie. And he did cause some problems. Hopefully this clip stays in the video and isn't copyrighted, but here it is.
It is exactly what the movie is about. I think that we support our people, we love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, then you're not American.
Hopefully that clip,
the thing is about people like James and my brother here is that when you're conflating two separate things into one, right? The illegal immigrant versus the immigrant, which is I think that's just a disservice to people that already are immigrants that legally did the process, did the things. No one's against that. I haven't ever met I've seen people online, right? But that doesn't count. In real life, no one's against that, dude. So I don't know. And I think it does a disservice to the people that did do the legal due process. But I don't know.
Still here, but as you
Why aren't they just talking about Superman though? Why is that the thing? Why does everything have to be this fucking, uproar?
saw, Sean Gunn does stir the pot, and honestly, it's not a good idea, especially in
Ridiculous.
today's political climate, to do so. And also, so people know, that interviewer guy that, interviewed Sean Gunn and whatnot, that's the same dude who interviewed Rachel Zegler before and ruined Snow White for Disney by allowing her to say all the things that she said that kicked off that whole social media firestorm for years. So when I say that Variety and its reporters quite literally do not care about ruining the integrity or the image of any Hollywood movie as long as they get their piece and their headlines, yeah, I mean it. Because that reporter guy is just standing there thinking, what can I say or do to get these people who spent countless hours and millions of dollars making these movies to self-sabotage so I can get my headlines for the website? Like, that's gross, isn't it? And the same reporter guy also tried to gotcha James Gunn. Here's what he said.
You said it's an immigrant story. It's a political movie. MAGA today is going nuts. What do you have to say to MAGA?
I don't have anything. I think this movie's for everybody. I don't have anything to say to anybody. Like, I'm not here to judge people, I think this is a movie about kindness, and I think that's something everyone can relate to.
And
Dude, reading half the shit that the media's put out, that was such a normal take, and I did not see that video of James Gunn. Right? That was a normal take. Hey man, Superman, it's for everybody, So yeah, I totally think, and Demian, fuck man, this guy's always had such a good point of view, man. He's right on the head here. It's literally the media, or this guy Variety, right? He's literally trying to dig up trash where there is none, right? That was such an honest, I think, an honest general take there.
You can tell on James's face that he immediately knew what was going on here.
Yeah.
That this reporter was trying
it's a
to
trap.
tank his movie as a big FU, I guess, to Trump supporters specifically. But James Gunn smartly fully dodges that question and just says that the movie is for everyone. And honestly, that's what you should be doing for any movie these days, video games and TV too. And remember, these reporters don't care, man. They just want to ruin your film to feed their websites. And I think what James says, that basic human decency is gone, yeah, it's right. That reporter is the poster child of what he's talking about. These people truthfully do not care about this movie at all. Of course, you have articles like this one from Vulture, which is a good name for a website because they are literally vultures, but anyway, it's titled, Superman
It looks like a big old flea.
isn't trying to be political, we just have real-life supervillains now. You see what I mean?
Oh my god. I can't roll my eyes real well, but I roll, guys. Blech.
It's like you can't escape this mentality when it comes to mainstream media. They are so hell-bent on politically dividing people, no matter the cost, yet they'll also cry and panic when the very industry that they're tasked with covering is falling apart from layoffs because people don't support these movies that they're meant to talk about. How the hell do you expect the movie industry to continue to thrive when the access media is more interested in dividing people than bringing them together? The fact they're trying this with Superman tells you everything. They really don't care about this movie. They don't care about the DCU succeeding or not either. All they care about is smash the MAGA fools and liberals together like action figures, I guess, and hoping that the fighting will give them more reasons to write more articles for clicks. Sean Gunn, however, saying if you're anti-immigrant, you're not American is the exact kind of statement you don't say at a movie premiere. Especially with so much writing on this movie doing well or not. Again, for the 100th time, guys. Nobody is against safe and official immigration. It's just that people don't want illegal immigrants in their countries. Like, how is that so hard to understand or quantify? I know immigration is a hot topic everywhere right now, and understandably so, because these things matter. But using Superman as a political hammer to stir this flame isn't it, in my opinion. The guy is everything that you would want in an immigrant. He's pro-American, he speaks their language, and adopts to their ideals. It
Fair. True.
just so happens that he can also fly, shoot lasers from his eyes, have ice breath, and he's strong enough to lift Lena Dunham over his head. But I want you to know that while the movie does have political elements to it, like the not Israel versus Palestine conflict, when that's exactly what it is in the movie, this whole immigrant, fiasco nonsense, yeah, it's BS. And Angry Joe proved that he didn't even read the article that Grumps was referring to, because if he did, he wouldn't have blown up and ranted like he did on Twitter. And I also just find it very irritating when content creators believe that they're somehow holier than thou or above other people, because you aren't. I don't care how many subscribers you have, what your videos perform at, you're never above anyone else. And don't let your ego get to your head and start thinking that failure or bad takes could never happen to you because, oh, look at me, I'm so great, when they absolutely can.
Mhm.
Although, if you want to talk about a weird origin change in the new movie, yeah, let's just say there's a change to Superman's origin about basically, how do I put this? A certain someone wants Superman to have a lot of wives, pretty much, and make lots of babies, basically. And that's weird. Like, that's really weird. That's something
Nice. As a father of 6, I support this.
I don't necessarily think needed to be there, but anyways, I digress. While I'm not crazy about the new direction of the DCU myself, I do think this whole controversy, if you will, is just overblown if you ask me.
I
And
agree.
with places like Vulture trying to say actually politics should be there because conservative man bad is exactly why Access Media is dying at an alarming rate, but understandingly pace, if you ask me. You guys did this to yourselves pretty much. And it's really no surprise that these media types are now trying to pull Superman and anyone else they can to their level to live in their filth with them. No thanks, I'm good, and you shouldn't be either. Whether you watch Superman or not based on these stories, that's entirely up to you. Frankly, I'm not crazy about the movie's direction or anything like that either way myself, but what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, subscribe, have a wonderful day, and see you next time.
Dude, great video, as always, and Demion's the man. Give that a like. You guys should really go check that out. Go check that out. Give him a like. Subscribe. I love his views. I think he always comes. Look, even if you disagree with the guy, you gotta admit the guy comes prepared, bro. He does. He comes prepared for whatever he's trying to argue. But please, hey, it's in the chat. It's linked in the chat. Please take that. Go check him out. Give him a like, man. That was really cool. It's a really good video.